This section details Emperor Ming Xiaozong Zhu Youjiao, son of Emperor Ming Guangzong Zhu Chongluo, crown prince of the Ming dynasty. His mother, Lady Wang, was one of Zhu Chongluo's concubines during his time as crown prince. Lady Wang had a humble background and held the position of talented lady, a relatively low rank in the imperial harem. In Zhu Chongluo's harem, there were two other concubines with the surname Li, commonly referred to as East Li and West Li. Despite her relatively low status, West Li was highly favored by Zhu Chongluo. This favor emboldened her, and she often displayed disdain toward Lady Wang. Toward the end of the Wanli reign, West Li became increasingly arrogant and frequently clashed with Lady Wang in the crown prince's residence. Taking advantage of Zhu Chongluo's favor, West Li continuously mistreated Lady Wang, ultimately leading to her death. This tragic event is not a mere legend, as Emperor Zhu Youjiao himself later confirmed it while recalling his mother's fate. Upon ascending the throne, he stated that his mother had died due to mistreatment by West Li. West Li was the direct cause of Lady Wang's death, and before she passed, Lady Wang left a final message for Zhu Youjiao. "I hold an unbridgeable enmity with West Li. Pains me deeply that, as I approach death, my grievances remain unaddressed." After Lady Wang's death, West Li not only went unpunished but was entrusted with the responsibility of raising Zhu Youjiao. When Zhu Chongluo ascended the throne, Zhu Youjiao, then still young, became the crown prince but had to live with West Li in Qianqing Palace. West Li was not only responsible for Lady Wang's death, but also treated Zhu Youjiao with indifference and contempt throughout their time together. Later, as an adult, Zhu Youjiao recalled, "West Li was malicious, tormenting me day and night. She neglected and mistreated me. As a child, powerless to resist, I could only cry in silence each night." Zhu Youjiao endured a painful childhood in Qianqing Palace. Though weak, he harbored deep resentment toward West Li, haunted by memories of his late mother. However, he was forced to suppress all his emotions. After Emperor Ming Guangzong Zhu Chongluo passed away barely a month after ascending the throne, the crown was left to Zhu Youjiao. This transition marked a pivotal point in Zhu Youjiao's life. As Zhu Youjiao prepared to ascend the throne, he found himself without personal freedom, held captive by West Li in the Qianqing Palace. West Li had taken control of Zhu Youjiao to coerce the officials into granting her the title of Empress Dowager. She declared that if they wished for Zhu Youjiao to take the throne, they would first need to elevate her status. West Li's origins were humble. She held the rank of selected attendant, a low position among concubines awaiting elevation. During Ming Guangzong's life, she had been favored and was expected to be granted the title of imperial noble consort. But the emperor's death prevented the investiture ceremony. Dissatisfied with her lack of status, West Li saw Zhu Youjiao's accession as an opportunity to assert herself as Empress Dowager. West Li argued that, since Lady Wang's passing, she had been responsible for Zhu Youjiao's care, considering herself his de facto mother. To her, becoming Empress Dowager seemed logical. However, the ministers viewed her claim as absurd. In their eyes, West Li was merely a fortunate palace attendant without the standing required for such a title. At the forefront of the scholar officials were Yang Lian and Lu Yijing. Yang Lian, one of the 6 gentlemen of Donglin, was a prominent figure at the Ming court's end, known for his integrity and strength. Lu Yijing, a senior official from the Wanli era, later held the position of chief minister in the cabinet under Zhu Youjiao. Both men were known for their strong principles. Yang Lian and Lu Yijing gathered other officials, and after deliberating, they concluded that they could no longer allow the situation to drag on. They had to take action. Together with numerous officials from across the Forbidden City, they converged on Qianqing Palace, surrounding it entirely. Seeing this, West Li felt some fear, but there was little for her to truly worry about. Though the officials had surrounded the palace, they dared not storm in. Since the founding regulations of the dynasty, it had been forbidden for officials to enter the inner palace quarters. Although West Li held a low position, She was still considered a consort of the late emperor. The officials gathered outside Qianqing Palace were filled with indignation. Some shouted criticisms at Westli for imprisoning the emperor. Others lamented the country's fate, and some even banged their heads against the ground to show their determination. However, despite their fierce resolve, they had yet to devise an effective plan to address the situation. At this tense moment, Yang Lian took a calm approach, standing at the palace gate with a speaker in hand, attempting to negotiate with Westli. "Madam Westli, please don't be too alarmed. Although we are many, our intentions are peaceful. We do not necessarily need to take Zhu Youjiao away from you," he began gently. Yang Lian continued to persuade her. "The late emperor has just passed, and Zhu Youjiao is still young. We merely wish to check on his health and ensure his safety. Surely, you see the reason in this, don't you?" Westli, initially braced for a forceful intervention, was taken aback by Yang Lian's respectful demeanor. Believing she had no reason to refuse, she opened the gates and led Zhu Youjiao outside. The moment Westli brought Zhu Youjiao out, Yang Lian swiftly stepped forward and pulled Zhu Youjiao toward him. The surrounding officials immediately closed ranks around the young emperor, escorting him away and leaving Westli standing alone, stunned by how quickly the situation had changed. With Zhu Youjiao now in the hands of the officials, Westli's leverage was lost. Yet she clung to her last vestige of influence by occupying Qianqing Palace. Qianqing Palace had been the administrative and sleeping quarters of emperors since the dynasty's founding. Claiming her position there, Westli announced that henceforth, all imperial memorials would be submitted to her first for review before being passed on to Zhu Youjiao. In essence, Westli still dreamed of seizing power as a regent, controlling court matters from behind the scenes. However, she overestimated her own capabilities. She lacked the cunning of Empress Lu, the wisdom of Empress Xiao, and the strategic mind of Empress Feng. She was simply a woman blinded by an excessive thirst for power. While Westli continued to scheme within Qianqing Palace, the officials sent a group of palace maids and eunuchs to forcibly remove her. They made it clear that she could no longer reside in Qianqing Palace and would have to move to Renshou Palace, the residence designated for aging concubines of the Ming dynasty, without a chance to collect her belongings. Westli was unceremoniously dragged out of Qianqing Palace by eunuchs and taken to the cold, isolated quarters of Renshou Palace. It seemed the matter had concluded, but a few days later, an unexpected incident added another twist to the tale. Renshou Palace burst into flames one night. Despite everyone's efforts to extinguish the fire, Westli was finally rescued, but she was left severely injured, her hair disheveled, and only barely clinging to life. Rumors soon circulated, claiming that the new emperor, Zhu Youjiao, may have orchestrated the blaze, with some even speculating that he had mistreated Westli, driving her to attempt suicide by leaping into a well. However, Zhu Youjiao gave no official response to these rumors and simply sat silently on his throne in the palace. Zhu Youjiao maintained his usual silence, haunted by memories of his father's mysterious death and his mother's tragic end under torment within the palace. Meanwhile, to the northwest, bandits plagued the region, and the Jurchens posed a growing threat from Liaodong. Within the court, factions such as the Donglin Party and the Yan Party were deeply divided, with tensions escalating day by day. Zhu Youjiao could only wonder where the fate of the Ming dynasty might lead, but he found himself unwilling to care. Seated upon the cold throne, he felt more isolated than ever.